I would argue that Stephen and his podcast, The Diary of a CEO, are the biggest vector of nutrition misinformation on the planet at the minute. I think he's done more for negatively impacting health and nutrition literacy at a population level than anyone else with the guests that he's actually platforming on his podcast. Like, he is selectively platforming the worst of the worst charlatans out there. Yeah. I mean, he's got Spector, Fung, and Brecka in recent episodes. Whereas, like,
has he had Gary Brecka on?
Yeah, he's had Gary Brecka on.
Mate, did you see the one with Gary Brecka spinning water?
Inside this stick is something called mother water. What it'll do in about 30 seconds is it will restructure the water. We now know beyond a shadow of a doubt that water will organize into these beautiful, like, hexagonal structures. So this will restructure and make the water what we call coherent. It's truly different water.
The very fact that the people who are involved in that podcast and Stephen himself, like, they have access to the best dietitians, nutritionists on the planet. If they can fly them out, they 100% have a good budget. Like, they can platform Dr. Lane Norton, they can have Al Narragon on, they can have Dr. Eric Helms. They can have the best of the best and really do the public a good service by giving them the best information possible and really the kind of like reducing the complexity and all the kind of issues around nutrition communication, because it is kind of like, it can be a little bit complex if you're very new to it. But if you're coming across like a Jason Fung video for the first time and you're very new to the space, like, you're instantly going to reject the idea that you need to control your calories and all that, and you're going to go towards the excessive insulin model that he's kind of pushing, and intermittent fasting and all that sort of stuff.
What I'm finding with Stephen Bartlett, which is really frustrating me, is now he's had however many nutritionists on, and they were some of the ones that I would listen to from the beginning, right? So I found them from Jimmy Carr. That was the first one I listened to. Amazing episode.
Great
That's
episode,
one thing I would like to start by saying is I really enjoyed his episodes at the start. I think he had True Geordie, he had Jimmy Carr, that Jackmate guy. They're the first ones I remember. Yep. Then he's had footballers on. I think he was meant to have Gary Lineker on, and then he pied it because Gary Lineker had dodgy tweets or something.
Yeah.
So there's been lots of footballers on. And he's had James Smith on, Chris Williamson and stuff. So he's had a lot of guests on that I actually like as well. That's why when I was going through his thumbnails the other day, I was like, don't have one single bit of slander to say about Thierry Henry. Recently, this is my opinion, it seems as if he started this whole thing as a passion project, and now it's been like, he's got his whole story that he's a millionaire, or whatever, he sold that company for X amount, and then he realised money isn't worth anything, so he started this passion project of a podcast, and now that has turned into a money-making machine. And it seems to, if you look through the cracks of it, it's all geared towards getting as much views as possible to inflate the prices of the stocks of all the companies he's putting his money into. That's what it looks like to me.
Yeah, I mean, like, one of the things I'll maybe say just to your comments already is that you've said he's kind of platformed nutritionists before. I went through his whole catalog and I couldn't find one evidence-based nutritionist or dietitian that he's had on since the beginning. So you can't. So
he's never had an evidence-based.
He's never. I actually don't know if he's even had an actual nutritionist on the podcast. He's had a lot of medical doctors,
right?
Which is, when it comes to nutrition, that can in itself be a bit of a red flag, because it can be verging on outside of their scope of practice. But
can I say some things on doctors giving nutrition advice?
Yeah, go for it.
My missus is a doctor.
Yes, yeah.
I've met all her friends.
Yeah.
Most of our friends that are like trying to lose weight and stuff all have personal trainers, because they don't actually have that much like qualifications, or actually that much. They don't learn that much about nutrition. Yeah. And the broad spectrum of being a doctor, giving people advice on food, isn't actually what they often do.
No.
If you're having a cardiac arrest, yeah, I'm not the person to go to. Neither are you.
Yeah. Any
sort of needle stuff, I even had to lie down to get my vaccine put in me.
Did you?
Yep. Never mind me putting some sort of jag in someone else. But it's such an easy like, it's an easy way to make claims and not be judged on it too much, or not be questioned on it too much by having the word doctor.
Yep.
So it scares me that so many doctors are giving out nutrition advice. And
there's a
Stephen Bartlett knows what the fuck he's doing as well, by the way. He knows exactly what he's doing. He sits there and pretends that I've never heard. So I've had numerous 10, 20, 30 nutritionists on, and I have never heard, Jason, about how when you fast, you're then activated, and then you're able to lose and burn fat. I've never heard of this, Jason. Why is that? And he sits there as if he hasn't heard about fasting like a million times.
I think if you kind of maybe look at Stephen's background, he is one of the best digital marketers in the world. He is if you ever listen to him on Dragon's Den, for example, like, that guy knows his shit. Mm-hmm. So whenever he's platforming these charlatans on his podcast, he knows exactly what he's doing.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a common theme with the guests he has on, is that they're all trying to push an agenda. They all have some sensationalist narrative that you're trying to push, and it generally goes against public health guidelines. Like, that is the common theme with the nutrition guests he has on. And he's also trying to push the services and products from the companies that he's actively invested in, like Whoop, Zoe, and Huel Daily Greens, which I would argue are useless products and services. Like, there's not many people who are looking at his Instagram posts right now and thinking, oh, that's great information. Like, most people are thinking, this is absolute nonsense.
The worst part is, though, see, as a personal trainer, right? Because that might possibly be the biggest UK podcast right now. I think it is. And it's got to be in the top 10 in the world right now. So see, whenever he puts a thumbnail like that out,
I can't unhear thumbnail.
Whenever he puts a Jason thumbnail out, the full like, honestly, 50% of the country see it. So then we're sat debunking his shite all week. Every time he has a new guest like that out, we're just constantly getting questions. Our clients are asking us questions. Our clients were doing great.
It's smart though.
Now they think they need to fast and activate themselves.